Hi everybody. This video is dedicated to my daughter who, like so many people who like to run or who spend a lot of time on their feet, struggles with plantar fasciitis, that annoying heel and arch pain on the bottom of your foot. So I thought I'd share just a few thoughts on this. First of all, plantar fasciitis isn't really an itis. There's some experts talking about renaming it. Of course, who knows how long that'll take, but it's more of an osis. It's probably not an itis, which means inflammation, right? Itis, we usually think of inflammation or infection. So itis on the plantar surface, the bottom of the foot, in the fascia or the strong connective tissue. So it's not really an inflammation, or at least most of the research, not all, but most of the research suggests that it's not really, there's not a lot of inflammation going on in there. There's more of a tissue degeneration or degradation, like a collagenous tissue, the collagen tissue in the fascia, the fascial matrix is kind of fallen apart probably due to strain, repetitive motion strain. So if it's not an itis, then my question is, why are we still treating it with anti-inflammatories? A lot of times people will prescribe anti-inflammatories like steroid injections, or ibuprofen or ice, which all work pretty well for inflammation, right? So if there's not redness and swelling and inflammation seen on a microscopic level in the tissue, then what's going on? So the other thing I hear a lot of talk about is biomechanical factors. So biomechanical factors, do you have flat feet? Do you have high arches? Is it your posture? Is it the way you hold your feet? Is it your gait cycle, your walking cycle? Like what's going on with that? And I don't think that there's a lot of evidence for that now. I think that people have relied on that in the past. This biostructural model, biomechanical model, has been super popular in the past to explain things, and there's increasingly less evidence as more and more studies, especially the functional MRI studies and the real-time ultrasound, are showing that lots and lots of people with structural anomalies don't have pain or disease, degeneration, things like that. And a lot of times people with pain issues or injuries will not always have those correlated biomechanical issues. So there's not a real strong correlation there. So so I think that we have to be a little bit skeptical of putting people on, those graphs and looking at their shoulders and their hips and their knees and their ankles and their arches and saying, aha, that's what's going on there. You have too flat feet or too high of arches. So I'm not sure I buy that. And you can read a lot about that. I'll put some of the links in the description below if you want to read more about that. What else? So I'm really interested in nutrition. So I know people discount nutrition, and a lot of providers will not see a lot of evidence that changing your diet makes a lot of difference. And I know I have a bias around that, but my personal experience and my clinical experience is that when people make the behavioral changes to really radically increase their nutrition, that it can make big changes, and even in things in the tissues that people tend to think don't heal so well. I know that in general people think that connective tissue doesn't heal real well because it doesn't have a real strong blood supply, and it's not proven to heal real quickly like other tissues in the body, like epithelial tissue or muscle tissue. So I still think that it can't hurt, and I think that as there are increasing studies showing that adequate nutrition or ideal nutrition helps to heal things that were previously looked at as not related to nutrition, I think that that'll be a bigger factor in the research. And the other thing is that in looking at treatment strategies and exercises and all that kind of stuff, I think that we can also look at some of the fascial work, like Tom Meyer's work on the anatomy train. So we see that the plantar fascia, according to his work and others who explore fascial chains, are, it's connected to the Achilles tendon or the calcaneal tendon and up through the calf and the hamstrings and all the way through the fascia in the back and up to the brow ridge and the top of the scalp. So we know that just doing little exercises like massaging anywhere around that line, up or downstream from the actual point of issue, can make changes in that tissue all along that line. So that's something else to think about, is if the bottoms of your feet are too tender to work on through massage or therapeutic exercise, and maybe looking at calf tightness, hamstring tightness, low back tightness, and all the way up through the erector muscles and the fascia that connects those all the way down to the plantar fascia. I know that a lot of people know that exercise where you put your foot on a ball and you roll it around from the center toward the heel and see if that will help to alleviate some of the strain. And you can try that and see how that works for you. Like anything else, I encourage people to think about things from at least two different perspectives. One is their own personal experience. Try the things that are proven to not do any harm, at least. It doesn't hurt you to up your diet or to do a few simple stretches or to take some rest and give your feet a break for a while, if you can do that. And the other thing is to balance that personal experience and intuition with the current research. So check out some of the websites that have evidence-based research and see what the general findings are for most people in the research, and see if that applies to you. Like everything else, please don't take this as individualized medical advice. I'm just a general health educator. I just like to give people my perspective on things, so it's maybe bringing up a few things that you haven't thought about before. But please see your healthcare provider or your physical therapist if you actually need some individualized treatment for your plantar fasciitis. Thanks.